All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the season's first Orange Weekly After Dark. Unfortunately, a very familiar storyline to talk about tonight. As always, go ahead and post any questions, comments you have, and we will try to get to them. In the meantime, tonight we are joined by Orange Weekly's founder, Kevin. I have fungus on my face, Dandino. Kevin.
God damn it.
Long,
because that's how I need to end that. And tonight, that's what I need. Thanks.
Anything to put a smile on our viewers' faces right now.
Something, right?
Long off season for again a similar result. We're going to go ahead and give you your 30-second summation of the game. When you're ready, I'll start the clock and you can give us your thoughts for 30 seconds.
Okay. So, you ready? Let's do it. Sloppy. Look, this is expected. I'm not surprised. We didn't deserve to win to begin with. The fact that he missed that many field goals, we just couldn't get it going. So, young offense, brand new offensive coordinator. We're missing starters. Phillip Lindsay, Cortland Sutton. It was a tough game. We held our own, but lots of work to get done. No need to panic yet, but there we are.
Man, 30 seconds on the dot, sir. You've improved
what?
So much.
Hold on, I should have used my timeouts. Like with plenty of time on the clock.
Yeah. Already comments coming in, and that seems to be one of the top ones is Fangio should have stopped the clock at the end of the game. I'm not sure what his thought process is. I'm sure people will ask him about it during the post-game interview tonight. Curious to hear what he says, but yeah, that's a very questionable at best clock management there at the end. And again, I think just what you said, it's sloppy all around. Sloppy, not just from the player standpoint. I think it was sloppy from the coaching standpoint. Some questionable play calling at certain times. We've had, again, the questionable clock management. Lots of issues. Comments posting up again. Judy is coming up as well as a common theme right now with his drop passes. And yeah, it was his issue at Alabama. He's known for his footwork and his route running, but he has to find a way to drop that habit of dropping the ball because that's something that plagued him in college years and seems to be transferring to the NFL as well.
Derek Crenshaw makes a very good point that I didn't even think about because of this sucky loss. There were no holding penalties on Garrett Bowles.
Which has to be.
If there is a bright spot, if there is one bright spot tonight, Garrett Bowles did not do anything bad.
That is fair. Usually, when you don't,
I love that, Derek.
In the game, if you're an offensive lineman, you're doing okay. And so you're right. That is. Look, there's a few. I don't know if I want to say bright spots, but there's a few encouraging looking aspects that can develop into bright spots down the road. And I think that's one of them. Again, it's one game. I hate to be the cynic here, but Bowles has left me feeling cynical about him. So yeah, if we go through the season and he produces more games like that where he's not holding, all right, great. But until I see a consistent pattern, I'm still going to be reserved on him. But you're right.
Oh yeah.
If nothing else, he had game one without a single holding penalty. So yeah,
one thing that I was disappointed by was there were some weird calls. Like at the end there, we were driving down 3-ish minutes left, 3rd and 8. And Locke had just not been, there was miscommunication. They're not on the same page. He's overthrowing the ball. And we go down the field with a long pass. Like, aren't we trying to just eat up the clock? Look, get 5 yards, put it in 4th down, go for it again, or punt it deep, something, right? So there were some weird calls at the end. We're all going to be, I guarantee everyone's going to be bitching, like I see in the comments, rightfully so, about not using those timeouts there at the end, not even giving our offense a chance. So it's a preseason game for everyone. And look, we lost to the team that was almost the AFC champions. They beat the reigning champions in the Patriots. They demolished the Baltimore Ravens, which was the favorite to win the Super Bowl. and they came close to, they held up their own against Kansas City. So look, this is a good team. I can't even fault them in that. It's a good team we played. Obviously, we would have liked to see more, but look, we're just hurting across the board. We have injuries. It's going to be interesting to see what comes out about Philip Lindsay, and was it Boye that went out? So look, we're missing some really key players. Hopefully we get healthy by next week. We get Cortland Sutton back. This team has promise. They're going to grow on this. It's one game, guys. I know it sucks. We've all been waiting for this, but the season is just starting. I don't see this team going 0-4 like last year. This team has the capability to really get better as these games go by.
Yeah, I agree with all that. And again, a team that's already beat up, especially for a week 1 game. Again, like I said, a couple of players that were taken out due to injury at halftime. So again, it'll be interesting to see what comes of that. Hopefully, we start getting some of these guys back. Hamler, Sutton in particular, and again, Lentz is a huge piece of that offense as well. So definitely stay in tune as we hopefully are able to give you some injury updates throughout the week, especially since it's a short week for the team now. They're on that game, they play Sunday, so they don't have that extra day recovery. So that could be pretty big. And I agree with Zeke right there. You showed one, and the other one I want to show is this one. Matt Brown offense lost the game, and I agree. I was pleasantly surprised with our defense. Especially. Again, Down Miller obviously is the big one. But, if you look at our cornerback depth was challenged tonight, and I think they held their own. We had a great interception that was unfortunately called back due to a questionable penalty. I saw a clip on Twitter that barely showed it at the corner screen, and I disagreed with the call, but that's the way the game is. But, I agree. The defense can only do so much. And what on our group, I think it was Raymond, shared in our group chat that the third quarter we had 6 plays total
for a negative 2-yard loss.
And he said himself, you're not going to win many, if any, games with that type of performance in a quarter. And, it's, again, the offense needs to step up a bit. Again, there's some kinks to work out. New offense coordinator, again, still a very young quarterback, young receiver core, all of that. But you can make excuses all you want. At the end of the day, though, this team needs to take that next step we all want them to return to. This team has to learn how to get on the winning side of these very close games. Last season, there were how many weeks where we barely lost? That they showed a stat like 3 times we lost within the last 30 seconds. Whatever it is. To take that next step, we got to find a way to be on the winning side of that. We're far away from being anywhere near the Peyton Mannings that we're blowing teams out of the water.
Yeah,
no one's expecting that. But you have to learn how to win those close games then.
Yeah.
Right? If you're going to be in close games, you have to find a way to win it. And if you don't, you're going to end up looking on the outside in come playoff time again.
Tony right here, more than 14 points to compete. I think I saw, if I remember the stat right, we were one of 2 teams last year that had less than a 21 point per game average. This is exactly right. Look, if we're going to be going up against teams like Kansas City twice a year, we're not going to win by putting up even 21, 24 points. Look, but there's so many excuses. And at the end of the day, there is no excuse. Lenny, completely agree. There is no real excuse because it was mismanaged. There was poor communication. But at the same time, I don't want people out there to be freaking out saying, well, we're just going to suck again this year, right? This could be a season where as long as we see improvement every game, that's what I'm looking for. If we are stagnant game in and game out, now we have, concerns, big concerns. But right now, it sucks. It really sucks. But I'm not freaking out.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's tough when you are when you're the team you're cheering so hard for the past few years we've struggled, right? I mean, we're only 2 years. This is our second season removed from the wonderful Vance Joseph era, shall we call it that, among other
He who shall not be named.
I will keep it. I will keep my comments PG tonight regarding Vance Joseph. But at the end of the day, we're only a couple years removed from that, right? Last year, obviously started 0-4, but again, a lot of close losses, all of that. Didn't make the playoffs. And so when you get there, it's easy to overreact to a week 1 loss, right? It's easy to see all that and like you said, kind of catastrophize it and go, our season's screwed, all of that. But at the end of the day, exactly, Eric, it's too soon to freak out, right? Half the teams in the league right now do not have a win.
Yep.
That's just how it is. Half the teams don't have a win.
Well,
and I guarantee you, out of those half teams, there's going to be a chunk of them that make the playoffs, right?
Yeah. Well, Tennessee, they said on the game tonight, Tennessee was 2-4 to start the season. They came back and almost won the AFC conference and made it to the Super Bowl. So,
right.
You know,
it's one game at the end of the day. You know, yeah, you want to see that win. The other thing you got to take in the factor is, you know, yeah, we were at home, but we lose that huge part of that Mile High magic, right? Like, yeah, you can make the argument of altitude, but without the fans, that's part of what makes Mile High so hard to play at, is that crowd noise we get. Yeah. And so the players need to find an adjustment on that, on how to create that atmosphere without the fans, and how to make a home game truly a home game in their eyes. And so that's going to be a challenge league wide, right? That's not just particular to Denver, but I think that's another thing. That's just going to be a different adjustment these professional athletes are going to have to make this season, at least short term.
So that, talking about altitude there, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Look, if your defense is out there for 3 series in a row for 12, 14, 15, 16 play drives, they're going to be just as gassed. So it's even more important. Look, you as the Broncos know this. You have to keep your defense off the field and give them a chance to recover. So the Titans used our own weapon against us. I think that was a huge part of it. They were just so freaking tired. And then, we go out there on offense and it's just messy. So again, are we a fringe playoff team? Yeah, we can look forward to that and talk to it much more when we get to that point of the season. But throughout the season, this is such a young team. And I'm going to say it a million times this year. They're not going to click right away. They're just not. There's so many additions. There's so many second string players that are trying to step up. Yeah, Jerry Jeudy messed up. I don't think that he's going to stay that way. He's going to first game jitters, and not only first game, but now you're wide receiver number 1. He had some pretty good cuts though, just like they were saying in practice. His route running looks pretty fantastic. And I'll go back, we need to go back and watch the specifics of each one of his plays there, but there are some bright spots. We're young, it's plain and simple. I think that's the big takeaway from tonight. All those mistakes we made, minus Coach Fangio at the end, definitely making me question what the hell was going on. And here's the other point though. We're not going to face teams where the kicker misses 3 field goals and extra point. So even then, 10 points, they should have beat us 24-14. Easy. But we got lucky that we were still in it. We just weren't able to find a way to capitalize and win it, just like you said, man.
Yep, absolutely. That's going to be, at the end of the day, that's what people are going to notice is what's that final score, right? They're not going to, we're not going to be one game out of the playoffs and they say, oh, well, they were in it when they shouldn't have been. It was week 1. They didn't get preseason in. So we'll bump them into the playoffs anyways, right? At the end of the day, the loss is a loss. And especially when you're a young team like this, you have to learn from it, right? Yep. And it's one thing, like you said, if they get stagnant over the course of the season and they're making the same mistakes and they're having the same issues, then that's a whole separate conversation. But when you're a young team and you can learn from a week 1 loss like this, recognize all these mistakes that, to be honest, are fixable mistakes. Like, I want to be clear with that. We didn't get outplayed tonight. We shot ourselves in the foot more than anything, right? It'd be a different story if we were like the Jets game where they were just simply outmatched the entire game from start to finish. They had no business being on the same field. That's a scary issue, right? We're not there anymore. If we fix these mistakes that are fixable, right? Jeudy makes those catches. That's fixable. The play calling, that's fixable. All these little things that we're talking about here, they're fixable mistakes. And if you fix those along the course of a season, that's when you start getting those wins. You start getting some momentum, start getting that confidence going as well.
Hey, Breno, glad we're international here at Orange Weekly. We have Breno here from Brazil. That's fantastic. Listeners in England and Britain, Japan, even. We get people listening in Japan and Australia. This is fantastic. And I do want to give a shout out really quickly to Broncos World Order. They've been a big supporter of us since day one. So make sure you go check out, if you're not already following Broncos World Order, check them out as well. We work pretty closely with them. Jason, really quickly, I want to do a couple plugs here. So it is Monday night. Obviously, tomorrow is our normal, our flagship show, Bourbon Broncos No BS. Please check that out. We go live right at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. I know I'm going to have a whiskey, a strong whiskey or something in my hand, but there's still a lot of good to talk about. So check us out for that. We'll also be posting the post-game podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher tomorrow afternoon, so you can listen to that and hear more of our takes on that. And then just get ready for the pregame podcast. And big news, we are going to be calling our very first game. David and I are going to be broadcasting from Cork and Keg here in Castle Rock, Colorado, right off the highway. I know if you want to go to the game and you can't because it's an away game to begin with, come on down from Denver, 30-minute drive up from Colorado Springs. If you tell them Orange Weekly sent you, you get half off your first drink. They do bottomless mimosas. Tons of stuff. Dave and I are going to be there, and it's going to be a great chance for everyone who is watching the game to not have to listen to the announcers. You can tune in and match up our audio with the game, and we can all be talking Broncos together during the game. So come check us out there. If anything, tune in. But look, yeah, season didn't start the way we wanted, but here at Orange Weekly, we are going strong.
Absolutely. I love it. Love it. A lot of great things there. It's a win-win-win, really. I mean, it's a win. Like you said, you don't have to listen to announcers. It's a win because you get half off your first drink. I mean, who doesn't want that? You win, lose at that point. You're celebrating either way.
I'm going to try. I'm going to walk in and be like, hey, Orange Weekly sent me, and see if they give me the deal.
Just tell them I sent you, and it'll be half price. I might even give a bit of a shout out to anyone who's able to come up with a great Orange Weekly After Dark introduction for Kevin as I run out of material here. So if you get there,
finally, for the love of God,
and you give me some more material for my intros, I'll give you a personal shout out for any of those. But hey, shout out to you guys, right? This is, not just Breno, obviously big shout out to you. But again, we've said it over the years. We'll say it again about 1,001 times over the course of the season. We do this for you guys, right? This is a fan-based show meant for the fans, right? We love talking to you guys. That's why we're doing all these things of all the shows we do as making them this type of style as much as we can. Now trying to do this live stream and stuff like Kevin was saying during games so we can see you in person, enjoy the game together, all that. This is it's as much fun for us as anybody else. So it wouldn't be half the fun without you guys. I make fun of Kevin all the time, so that doesn't change. So with you guys here, it makes it that much more fun, entertaining for us. So shout out to you guys as well. So Kevin, obviously, and you guys will talk more in detail during tomorrow night, but just get a bit of a preview. Next week, Steelers. Steelers looked pretty dang good tonight. Their defense was pretty solid. They had a great offensive game plan. Roethlisberger looked pretty solid. What things do they need to do mentally, physically, otherwise to start preparing for that Steelers team?
You got to find a way, obviously, to just be ready for Big Ben. He's looking good. He's trying to make a comeback, after last year's, and he's kind of been injury prone lately, just over the past few years. So he's really trying to make a statement about himself and who he is. So just be ready for that. I think, unfortunately, we gave the Steelers a good game plan against us in terms of, pick on the young guys on defense. Hoping that Boye and Philip Lindsay come back, and Cortland Sutton, I expect to see him back as well. But just be ready for that. The defense has got to find a way to make those big plays. We almost had that. We did have that one interception that got called back, but that was really the only real big play. There were some really good ones from Shelby Harris, Casey, Jackson. I mean, there were some big plays, and those guys are ready to go. So we just need to get more on the same page. And then when it comes to offense, if you're at the 1 yard line, find a way to get the freaking ball. Just play a more complete game. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, we're obviously going to lose. Every Sunday is, anything can happen on Sundays. And just go in with, let's be better than we were tonight. Hopefully it'll lead to a win. But again, like I said earlier, I'm just looking for us to improve. And if we can improve just a little bit, I think we can hang right in there with them and even steal a win on the road. So that's really all I'm looking for.
Absolutely. And to Joey's point here, yeah, you're right. Towards the end of the game, there wasn't much of a pass rush. I think, again, that goes back to Kevin's point of they were tired. They were on basically the entire second half, they were on the field. And when your defense is on the field, you lose your pass rush. That being said, Itachi had a couple good plays. Didn't hear Chubb's name too much, but honestly, that's kind of be to expect when you're coming off an ACL like that. So hopefully he continues to prove throughout the season. The other thing about the Steelers is they don't have as good of a front seven as the Titans do. Remember, the Titans have one of the best, if not the best, arguably front seven of the entire league, right? And so look for more of a pass rush next week, I would expect. Getting Big Ben's face. I mean, that's how you have to play him, is you have to get in his face. And I think, not to say the Steelers front seven's bad by any means, but I do think that it won't be as good as we saw tonight. So hopefully we're able to produce a little bit more pressure on the defensive side as well. Hopefully force some more, bad decision-making, turnovers, all of that fun stuff. Yeah, you're right. Our offense has to find a way to, better across the board, from quarterback play, running, receiving, to play calling. Just have to start making those improvements.
Yeah. We'll get there. I have no doubt we'll get there. Even if we don't get in the playoffs this year, as long as we've shown real improvement, that's what's going to carry that momentum moving forward and make teams really look at us, for the next season and say, we can't really count these guys out by any means. So, this is a team that we're really going to see grow and mature over the next 4 or 5 plus years. And that's going to be fun to watch. When we're 5 years from now and we're looking back and hopefully, we're saying, wow, this team has really improved. Look where we are now. It's been a long ride. It's been a rough ride. Believe me, guys. I know I'm just as much pain as you guys all are. But it's, if you're ready to watch the long haul here, it's going to be a fun ride.
Absolutely. This is one I think we're going to get over the next probably course of the season. I don't think so. I think Fangio's job is as safe as ever. Even if we go 0-3, reason being is I think we saw steady improvement over the course of last season, right? We started out 0-4. And even then, if I remember right, at least one, if not two of those first 4 games were those last second losses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure one was like that Green Bay game that, again, lost right at the end of the game. And so I don't think so. I don't think this is a Vance Joseph situation where it's constantly coaches' decisions costing the game directly, a player having zero buy-in with the coach, players not wanting to play for him, and you just see a constant unraveling of the team. I think Fangio has really built in a system where the team wants to play for him. They still trust in him. And again, I mean, even if you saw this game, compared it to one of the earlier games last year, this is a team that's improved, and that's with a very young team. That's with, I think, 13 rookies made the roster. That's a large chunk of your team. And so I don't know if you have any thoughts, Kev, but in my opinion, I don't think Fangio's on the hot seat by any means right now.
No, we've had so much coaching turnover. We can't keep going through coaches. Look, if there's no improvement at the end of the season, if there's no improvement through next season, okay, we can seriously start talking about that. But it is not even something to even consider if, say, knock on wood, worst case scenario, we go 0-3, 0-4. We can't keep going through coaches, guys. We have to find. You look at these teams that are solid year in, year out, they don't have coaching changeovers. We've gone through, this is our, 3rd or 4th head coach over the last 5 years? No. We have to stick with someone, and Fangio's that guy. He has that leadership quality. He is somebody, like you said, he'll be able to build the team around what he presents, and the players love him. So, no.
I agree. We're going to start kind of wrapping things up, guys. Keep posting your questions. We'll try to get to them here. This is, I think, one of those bright spots. I think Gordon definitely got better over the course of the game. Kind of got his feet under him. Had some big runs in the second half. Obviously had the touchdown as well. And we might be leaning heavily on him depending on what comes out of this Philip Lindsay injury. Obviously, it's never good when you're ruled out in the middle of a game, and again on a short week. And Philip Lindsay is just such a fire plug for this team. He can spark things. He's a great blocker. We saw tonight he can catch as well. Great hands, great agility, and I think having him on game day is a great 1-2 punch with Gordon. But again, depending on how that injury comes, Gordon might need to have a huge game for us next week. And so it was encouraging after his fumble today that he, again, got back in there and started to turn it around a bit and start to get those positive gains. So, again, hopefully his first game nerves with the new team are out, and he got that confidence back, and he had some of that swagger towards the end of the game, getting faces of some Titans players and all of that. We might need him down the road again, depending on this injury with Lindsay. But again, that's I think one of the bright spots that we saw this game.
And Eric, my comment, I understand your frustration. I do. But my comment to this is every coach is a rookie coach at some point. What about the 49ers? Kyle Shanahan has done great things there, built a team up. So this is his second. This is his first game of the second year. So I get where your frustration is. I promise you I do. But every coach is a rookie head coach at some point. It doesn't matter how many years of experience you have as a coordinator or assistant coach. When you're in that hot seat as head coach, it's completely different. Give him time to learn, just like we're going to give Jerry Jeudy time to learn, Drew Lock time to learn. Everyone has to improve, and he knows that just as much as anyone else. So hang in there, guys. Hang in there. I can't see how this would not get better.
Absolutely. And here's another bright spot. I thought our O-line looked improved. Again, we touched on Bulls not having any holding calls. But I think, relatively speaking, in games where we've had 7 sacks allowed of the sorts, I think that's another improvement there. Is our O-line, I think, is starting to come together a bit. Again, there's some questions on depth there as well, but I do think that they were improved as well.
Yep.
All right. Again, wrapping things up, guys, just a couple more minutes. Going back to the running back strategy, plan to see Freeman more next week, again, depending on Lindsay. If Lindsay's out, unable to go, we'll definitely see Freeman used more. But I definitely think he's the odd man out of that trio. And so if Lindsay's able to go, I don't expect to see too much of Freeman. And we didn't even see him at all until fourth quarter after a full quarter and a half of no Lindsay. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I think, what it comes down to, you guys, is it's week one. Mistakes will be made with any team on week one. And it's even more so for one of the younger teams, if not the youngest team in the NFL. And so
I think the average age is like 24 or something on offense. I think Garrett Bowles is like the oldest player on the offense.
I mean,
and he's 32 or something.
On that team, you'd be ancient. I mean, come on, like it's something to keep in mind. So, again, there's some positives that came out of this. The mistakes I saw were fixable mistakes, which I mean are the best mistakes to have. Honestly, I know they're the most frustrating. But again, it's the best because that there's improvement there that can be had. Again, versus just outplayed, dominated from start to finish, and had no business being out there. So I think good things to come. Next week is going to be a huge challenge. Don't get me wrong. But I think over the course of the season, I still think we're looking at a playoff caliber team. I don't think we're out of that picture by any means. Even if we don't get the win next week. But again, I think it'll be a good challenge, see what this team is at, see how they respond to a loss like this. I think that Fangio is really going to challenge them, even challenge himself, and call everyone out, say they need to be better. And so I'm excited to see what comes out of next week. Again, lots of materials coming out for you guys this week as we are now rolling into all of our season mode on our end. Kev, I know you talked about our main show tomorrow, but why don't you just touch real quickly on all the content we give out week by week?
Yeah, pre-game and post-game podcast. Give us a follow on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. And guys, if if you can help us out at all, please go give us that 5-star rating. We really appreciate it. That's what helps us out more than anything. I can tell that you guys are big fans of us. We're even bigger fans of you. So we appreciate all your support. The post-game podcast will be dropped tomorrow afternoon. You can check that out there. And, you know, some of, hey, let's look forward a little bit more versus just dwell on everything from this last game. But we'll be dropping that tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Bourbon Broncos, no BS, every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And then I'll see these Monday night shows, Orange Weekly After Dark. Normally we do a pre-game show like we did today and a halftime hash show today. But again, next week's going to be different in that David and I will be broadcasting from Colorado Cork and Keg, which is listed right down there below, starting 30 minutes before kickoff. And we will be broadcasting during the entire game. So let's not listen to those announcers. I'm sick of them. They suck tonight. I don't even hear what they were saying 3/4 of the time. So why not listen to us and chime in with us and talk with us, and we'll pull up your comments and answer your questions throughout the game as well. And just a fun way to interact with all of us during the game. So yeah, we got tons of content for you guys. Oh, I have not brought up one of the best new things, even better than us calling a game on Sunday. If you love fantasy football, like I think we all do, if you're even remotely interested in sports betting or just want to hear what the lines are for the upcoming game, check out Ragers. Our own very Raymond is an expert, very, very smart when it comes to sports betting and making wagers and everything. So check him out. He'll tell you what the lines are. He'll tell you his bets. He did pretty good last year and pretty much year in, year out. He's gotten really good at it. He'll also break down some fantasy stuff for you guys. So check out Ragers. Again, that's going to just search for Ragers on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, all those podcast places. It's if you missed last week's, I mean, it's not too late to listen to the Fantasy Football 101 and Sports Betting 101. But those are fantastic, and you guys are going to love them. So check that out as well. Guys, we have so much for you. If you love the Broncos, this is the place to be. And Jason, what other show out there interacts with the fans like we do?
Can't think of one.
There's not one. Okay, that's our main thing is fans, brews, and Broncos news. That's our motto. We're here for you guys from today through well after the season and even in the off season. So we're not going away anytime soon.
Absolutely. Again, tons of content for you guys. Again, a couple of podcasts, but a lot of shows just like this where you can interact, put your thoughts out there, and let us talk about it with you. That's the whole point of this again. We definitely appreciate it. Again, thanks again. This is the first Orange Weekly After Dark of the season. Expect this to be a little earlier than tonight. Obviously, tonight we'll be talking the game, but especially for Kevin's sake, since he's an old guy over here.
I am. It's like 3 hours past my bedtime.
I'm saying. So normally this show will kick off around 10 o'clock Mountain Time. So be looking for that. Otherwise, again, tune into all of our stuff. We hope to see you next Sunday in person as we root on our very young team against the experienced Steelers. Hopefully it's a great game for us to watch and we can pull off an upset. In the meantime, Kev, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, good
next
sir.
Week we can award a Mile High salutes. Can't do it tonight because of the loss, but hey, always next week. So in the meantime, everyone have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
See ya.